Hello, once again, Internet. The last time we were here, you saw me wondering what to do because my router bit wasn't the right size. I had a big old 3/4 inch router bit that wasn't adequately sized to properly dado in. I was trying to figure things out. What I did, remember our project, 3/4 inch plywood. I got a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch straight cut bit. My last one was much longer. Let's see if I can find it here somewhere. Yeah, so you see this bit here that I was using? That is clearly quite a bit longer than what I actually need. Because I'm dadoing a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, that's about 19 millimeters, I really only need to go 3/8 of an inch, so 9 to 10 millimeters deep. So I picked up this new guy. I don't know if this is a gimmick or not, but it's got laser etched depth on there. You could probably figure it out if you didn't have those etchings on there. But yeah, this guy I could not set low enough so that I wouldn't be going too far deep into my plywood. If you take a look right here, you can see, there you go. That works out to more than 10 millimeters. There are these little offsets that I've got that I could use that would probably get me pretty close, but I'm using an inherited router, so I don't have these screws. Rather than go out and spend money on screws, I went out and I spent money on a new bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of wood here, and I'm going to show you guys how I come up with my offset from center. So I'm going to set this guide here at a known width away from this finished edge. I'm using a finished edge on this offcut so that I get a nice straight line to go from. So I'm going to set this at a known dimension from the offset. Then I'll mark my line here, and then I'll do my cut. And then I'll use my calipers, my nice fancy plastic calipers, which are, I don't know where they went. Oh, right here. I'm going to use these guys, and I'm going to find out exactly what my offset is so that I know where to scribe my lines when I'm setting my actual cuts. I have decided that it's worth the time and effort to practice on this offcut before I get into the real deal here. So let's see how that goes. Okay, let's see how these laser etchings help me out. I need about 3/8 of an inch, so this is obviously more than 3/8 of an inch. So I'll have to put my camera down for a second. Yeah. So as you can see here, let's get that in focus. We're coming about halfway through that middle ply with the cutting edge, and that's set to about 3/8 depth. Can't really see it, but that's about what that is. But keep in mind, this is a test piece, so we're gonna give this a go, see how we make out, and take some measurements and check it. Okay, so here's what I noticed first. A little bit of blowout here. You got to keep that in mind for future. Also noticed my cord got caught here. Keep that in mind for future. This blew out here. That isn't the end of the world because on a real panel that would be inside. Wouldn't really see that. Still have a good depth here. I don't have an air compressor, so I'm going to use the good old lungs God gave me. That's pretty straight. I wasn't applying a lot of force here. What I've learned from the past is if I'm pushing too hard against the edge, it'll flex, and then I have the potential to push out one of my clamps. So I wasn't applying a lot of pressure here. We've got a nice straight edge. Let's test fit another offcut and see how it goes. This guy looks pretty good. Let's see. That is pretty snug. I imagine if I sand the corners a little bit, give it a tiniest bit of a chamfer, it'll go in nicely. Let me put the camera down and see what I can do. Okay, I grabbed another piece of wood that was a straight edge as opposed to that one I had, and I didn't even have to sand it. It is nice and deeply seated on both sides here. So there's some play to it obviously, but that joint gets wood glue. So all across here, it's a nice joint. I am quite happy with that. So here's the takeaway. That edge is nice and straight. Watch out for blowouts like that at the end. And I'm gonna have to, I did use a hammer to get that in there. I don't know if that's going to be practical all the time. Might need a mallet or maybe use a piece of wood to soften the blows from the hammer. But that, oh, let's check our depth. How close to the actual depth I'm going for am I? That is 9.5. I can't imagine that being more perfect. Maybe it's 10. Half a millimeter. I can live with that. So, the other thing to keep in mind, I'm not going to be cutting this close to the edge. I want to have about a 2-inch reveal. So my slot's actually going to be here on my real panels, which means I'm not at risk of like blowing this out with too much load. Yeah, I am happy with that. I think I may start cutting. Oh, I gotta take my measurements. Let's see. This is it's the same as my last bit, which makes sense because they're both 3/4 inch cutting bits. So 65 millimeters is the offset I'm going to be using. Make sure to measure your own router though, because I'm sure they're all different. But yeah, I'm happy with that, and I really have to wrench on that to pull that out, and that's just friction right now. Yeah, I like it.